Hello and welcome. I'm Annette Reeder from the biblicalnutritionist.com. And today, we are going to tackle this subject because we've hit it in the past and we're still dealing with it, and you still have more questions. And it's all about the health of your liver. Are you dealing with fatty liver? Are you dealing with other issues? What's going on with your liver? And today we're going to talk about how you can change so much in your health when you have the health of your liver. So I'm excited about doing this today, and I have with me Dr. Jay Hitson. I've already introduced you to her before with a couple other videos, and I know many of you are totally falling in love with her teaching, and I appreciate your comments on that. So today we're going to discuss this. We're going to discuss, how can you recognize you might have problems with your liver? And typically, just to be honest, your liver is a very silent scream. It doesn't really give you much notice. And so we have to recognize, okay, then how do I know? And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to give you some steps that you can take on healing your liver, making it healthier. And this is your takeaway. When your liver is healthy, your skin looks radiant. So if all you care about is how good you look, then you need to listen to this video. But if you care about how you feel, then you need to listen to this video. All right, so we're going to get started. And before we do, I just want to say thank you for letting me share with you God's recipe for excellent health. It always includes the fact that God loves you. He desires to have a relationship with you that is real and personal. So he's waiting for you to accept that. So let's get started with Dr. Jay Hitson. And Dr. Jay, welcome back again. I am so excited to have you join us because everyone seems to really be taking in your content and feeling like they're getting that value. And that's what we all desire from our doctors. Like, teach me something, tell me what's going on. And usually your doctor's just like writing a script and sending you on your way. And it's like, well, I didn't get anything out of that visit except for a script and a diagnosis. But with you, they get teaching and they get answers. So welcome back to this video channel.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Yeah, so this is good. So today it's all about the liver. Now, you're like the queen of blood tests, and I've been teaching that people need to get blood tests because we need that inside view. Even if you pay out of your pocket, which I actually prefer to pay for my blood work out of my pocket, but reasons we won't go into today. But it's because one reason is because I can choose what labs I want to have done. Now, I love it that that's your specialty is blood panels. So tell me what you're seeing in these blood panels. What's going on with people's liver and how is that affecting their life? And they didn't even realize what was the cause. That's a lot to ask you.
Well, I will tell you, just watching what's happening as, we have thousands and thousands of these tests coming back, from just a very diverse population. I'm going to tell you, it's been fascinating watching what has been going on in the last 5 years. We're just dealing with a whole new breed of liver issues that we just weren't seeing quite the way they were before. I know there's a lot of reasons why that could be. Obviously, we went through a pandemic, and there's all kinds of consequences associated with that. But here's the biggest thing that I want to share with regards to liver is that the majority of liver disease, the majority of under functioning livers, the person has no idea. They have no symptoms whatsoever. And nor have they been told, even though they may have had blood work done by their GP, by their primary care, they weren't told that their markers were off. And there's a lot of different reasons why that can be happening. One of the biggest being that there's not really a big pharmaceutical intervention. And that's one of the reasons why there, a lot of times it's just, let's just monitor it. Let's just watch and see. They may mention it, but there's just not a lot of treatments in the standard of care with the traditional medical route. So we are seeing these people who are getting really to the edge of being extremely, extremely sick and just had no idea that this was going on.
Wow, it's almost scary that is happening. But then again, I mean, we don't go to the doctor if we aren't feeling bad. But many times these silent screams of our liver, we just don't recognize them. So, what would you say are some of the common symptoms that people have that they may not even know that that's associated with their liver health? What would you say that would be?
Yes. Now, in general, with regards to liver, you almost will never have good cholesterol. So while you may be alerted to your cholesterol levels rising, you may not have been talked to about what's going, what maybe one of the root causes, because the liver is a huge factor in filtering out cholesterol. So one of the big factors we've even talked about is like there are people who even the cholesterol medications aren't quite doing the job. And it's really because their liver is not able to catch up. So that's the one that most people like. If there is any sign, it's high cholesterol. Fatigue, but the fatigue so many things. So that one's a little tough to put out there. Also, I like to say this: if there's any kind of hereditary component with regards to liver disease, you really do want to get checked. There are a tremendous amount of hereditary family health history components that, again, if you catch this stuff early, the liver is able to reverse course in an amazing way. I mean, we if we just catch it before there's damage, so much can be done. So as we're going through, just be aware of what that genetic, what those genes look like, and just pay attention. There's this tests are simple, they're easy to access, and they can give you a wealth of information.
That is so true. So, I always have my husband and I do our lab work at least twice a year because I want to know where we're at. What's going on? Are we going up? Are we going down? Are we staying the same? I'm looking for how well am I doing on my eating? How well am I doing on my supplementing? And how well are we just doing overall? Because we are getting older. And so I've noticed and I always track. So, okay, here's my a second takeaway for people. Whenever you get your blood work done, you have to print it out and you have to put it in your own filing cabinet. Don't tell me it's on file at the medical center. No, they lose those quite often, and people are shocked that that happens. They say, "Well, I can just log in and get it." It's like, no, no, you have to have it printed so I can track it. So that's number one. So number one is get your blood work done. Number two is print it out and track it. And even you with an untrained eye, you meaning the audience, can see, oh, that number has changed. I need to check that out. And so that's very important. So before we dive in even more to the blood panels, there's this other phrase that's out there. It's this new diagnosis, and it's called fatty liver. So give us your scoop on that.
Absolutely. It is a new diagnosis. It's one that's still working its way through the healthcare community. The biggest difference is that they're seeing, more, they're recognizing that there's more fat cells. It's usually more associated with obesity, some form of insulin resistance, and there's always a dietary component associated with fatty liver. The good news with people who are diagnosed with fatty liver is that even in the medical community, they understand that this is one of those conditions that has to be addressed with diet and lifestyle. You have to work on your weight. You have to get exercising, and you have to be looking at, again, the sugars and the insulin. Not having those particular spikes. And fatty liver also, they're associating a lot with alcohol consumption, which, as we know, anything in excess is never good. And that's one of the other big recommendations that they're making. So here's my takeaway with fatty liver is that with this particular diagnosis, the good news is that the treatment will make you healthier overall. No matter what the diagnosis is, you will be healthier if you go through the treatment protocol.
Oh, I so agree with that. And diet has such a strong component of that. And then also supplementation can help as well. So thank you for letting us have like an inside view of the liver. And what I know is that you also offer an exploratory functional blood panel. And in this, you have like, how many different blood tests do you have in that? Because I don't want to say the wrong number, but it's quite
Yeah,
a few.
80 plus.
Okay, so 80 plus blood markers. And so when we talk about fatty liver, when we talk about the liver in general, so we do have the liver panel section, but yet what you're saying, the cholesterol feeds into this, the sugars feed into this, the A1C feeds into this. So you take this blood panel that people have done, and then you're looking at the complete picture versus compartmentalized, which is what most traditional doctors do just because of lack of time and all of that. So when you're looking at the complete picture of a blood panel, that gives you a whole new perspective of this person's health, right?
Absolutely, because one of the factors with liver is, what does the liver do? It detoxifies. So when you have liver issues, well, you have to look at the other systems and, why are we seeing that the liver is being put under stress? Again, like we mentioned, of course, there's a cholesterol factor that's an indicator. Thyroid factors along the side of liver as well. We always want to be looking at diabetic markers, because those affect how they, especially fatty livers. So you really do need to look at this as a whole person and not just their parts. Because whenever you try to treat this and you only target the one thing, well, you're missing a big part of the root cause.
Right. So good. So that's what I love. So for those of you watching, definitely eating by the three principles that we've taught in the past, which is eating God's foods that he called good for us, eating those foods as close to the way he designed it. Now, principle number three, we don't talk about all the time, but it totally affects the liver, and that is don't let any food become an addiction. And so many people who come to me with fatty liver that's been diagnosed by their doctor, I'll say, give me a 3-day food journal. And it's super high in processed foods, processed carbs. And that is a lot of work on the liver. And God made the liver to be extremely good at detoxifying, and it does an incredible job. But yet sometimes we can overload it, we can overburden it. And so definitely diet changes are going to totally bring that around. But there's also other supplements that actually help as well. But like we said in the beginning, so much of what's happening in the liver is silent until it becomes a crisis point. And so, what you pointed out, Dr. J, is that if we get blood panels done, and specifically, I mean, we're just going to be transparent about this. We really want people to get your blood panel done because you recognize so many different systems that the standard doctor is not going to even check for. And that lifts up the veil of seeing exactly what's going on versus maybe it's this, maybe it's that. So you get a much better picture of what's going on. Is that true?
Absolutely. And one of the biggest factors is, like, for instance, if liver is an issue, you don't even, yes, you need to do diet, lifestyle, exercise, but you don't even want to over supplement. You don't want to put anything else as an added burden for the liver to work through, because even that it has to work through everything we put in it, and we don't want to overburden it. And there are so many hereditary components that we're able to test for in this panel. And that's so important to know, that while DNA is DNA, there's ways we can counteract those hereditary components. And again, if those aren't addressed, you're never going to see improvement. You're never going to see that liver numbers improve.
I so agree. And I love the fact that so as people fall in love with your teaching, they actually can call your office and schedule appointments. So that's excellent. And especially if they get the blood panel done, they can that includes a follow-up with you or your team for 30 minutes. And that's an incredible investment to have someone to talk one-on-one with and discuss your own medical results. So that's amazing. And then you make suggestions for their diet or for supplements. And if they are an extreme case, then you refer them to their own physician and let them follow up. But you'll recognize that and you'll see that. And so I love how you handle this. I love how you work with your clients, and I love the results they get. So within 30, 60, 90 days, they're seeing results. They're feeling more amazing than they thought possible, all because they invested in doing blood work, knowing what's going on the inside, made the dietary, lifestyle, and supplement changes that they needed to, And I also love that you address the fact that sometimes you can over supplement. You can have too many and it's too much for your liver to detoxify. So that's a lot of takeaway for everyone watching today. I hope they got all of that. What else would you say about for those watching in regards to healing their liver?
You have to get to the root cause. And that's not necessarily an easy thing. Um, in general, livers just don't go bad all by themselves. Something is causing it. And it is quite the investigation to whittle down those factors. But until you get to the root cause, you're always just going to be working on the symptoms. And that's from, and I think even from our standpoint, yes, diet, yes, lifestyle, yes, even supplementation, but we want to truly get to the root cause, address that, so then you can even dial back on some of those extremes as we're going through. You want to live a healthy life, but we don't want to be constantly battling this. And so having, whether it's my team or anybody, have somebody help you work through, find out where this is coming from, address it at the root cause, give you the tools that you need for it to heal in the meantime. And then the liver does an amazing job of regenerating. And we do see changes in 90 days, amazing changes that would it would blow most people's minds as to how great they can feel in such a short period of time.
And I love that. And that's what people are looking for. And that's what they deserve when they're making this investment in their health. And we should always be making investments in our health. So thank you, Dr. J, for joining us today. And it's always a pleasure to spend time with you and just to share this information with everyone because and I also love the fact that you are from a Christian's perspective. So I haven't mentioned that before, but that's also important to me. If I'm going to share people on this YouTube channel, I want them to be like believing. Like minded is one thing, but I'm talking like believing. That's more important to me. So thank you again for joining us. And I know this is going to be very instrumental for so many people. And I pray that they look into this. And we don't want anyone caught by surprises. We want everyone to know what's going on so they can finish this race well and do it excitingly and with great energy. So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for joining us here on as we talked about the liver and just all of these options that you can use to bring healing to the liver. And if you haven't already, check out our website, thebiblicalnutritionist.com. Now, we have many courses to teach you even more about your health, and it's found at biblicalnutritionacademy.com. So check out those courses that you can study at your own pace. And in the meantime, remember, God loves you and he desires a personal relationship with you that you are going to feel is amazing. So thanks for watching.